Till then, friends till then. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Better. Who was here last time I was here? Hands up. Okay. Who's seeing me for the first time tonight? Hands up. Oh, a large proportion of you. Must have pissed the last one off.
Oh, probably died.
Yes, I have sussed my audience out the last few years, actually. Yeah. Yes, I've made the same journey myself, you know. It's a classic. I started off as the young singer-songwriter back in the 60s. Then I became the young up-and-coming singer-songwriter in the 70s. Then in the 80s and the 90s, I was just the singer-songwriter. Then around about 2000, I got the first poster with The Veteran. And about 6 years ago, I got the first poster with The Legendary. Which, as we know, is the last one before the late. Yes. Jolly good. Oh, well, it's very, very nice of you to... Oh, you're all Roger Davis fans, aren't you? That's what it is. And why not? I love that man. Writes some great... You see, he writes in English, he sings in English, and he writes about what he knows, where he comes from, and his own generation. That is exactly what I've been doing for 50 years. And he's doing it, and it really does piss me off. Because he does it brilliantly. I've got every album he's made. Of course, he's given them to me. Now then, how good is the voice? Do I keep the cap over there or do I take it off? Hang on a minute. Keep it there. Oh no, Bruce Richard. Oh, hang on. Take it up there. See, I'm not professional anymore. I can mess about like this. I don't care. In the days when we had nothing and the rent was overdue, we'd never ever worry. We'd always see it through. We didn't mind the hard times. We just said, I love you. In the days when we had nothing, we had fun. But now the pension's getting smaller, council taxes on the rise. Bills come every morning, and we find to our surprise that with a house, a car, a fridge, a bar, and all that money buys, in the days when we had nothing, we had fun. In the days when we had nothing but the dreams we knew we shared, there were empty shelves and old tin cans, but neither of us cared. We said we couldn't, knew we shouldn't, then we went and dared. In the days when we had nothing, we had fun. But now the pension's getting smaller, council taxes on the rise. Bills come every morning, we find to our surprise that with a house, a car, a fridge, a bar, and all that money buys, in the days when we had nothing, we had fun. In the days when we had nothing, we had everything and more. We had all those years ahead, there were years ahead galore. But it's taken all those years for us to find what living's for. Let's forget that we've got something and have fun. Let's trade the 4x4 for cycles, hold a giant cargo sail, ride off in the sunset on a never-travelled trail. We'll see it all, we'll have a ball, and then we'll tell the tale of all in the days when we had nothing, we had fun. Yes, we'll see it all, we'll have a ball, and then we'll tell the tale of all in the days when we had nothing, in the days when we had nothing, in the days when we had nothing, we had all together now. Fun! There is, I think, a gentleman here who's come from Holland. Where is he? There he is. Hello.
Hello.
We have corresponded
Yes.
over the net, as you can these days. Isn't it wonderful? Sometimes. But in this case it is. Yeah. And I think you requested this song. I hope you requested this song. Because it takes a lot of doing. This is a song I wrote when I was 23. And I was 23. And it was about what I thought life might be like for me now. I'm 72. I can hear your gasps of surprise. Not. Let's see if that young man knew what he was doing. When I am old one day, children will laugh as I shuffle on by, pausing with every stride, believing that steps were never so high. When I am old one day, surrounded by pieces of long ago, I will recall today and wonder where all of the hours go. Will I sit in the park, time on my hands to soak up the sun, or will I have made my mark and still have some things that have to be done? Mumbling phrases to shadows that hide, with people who stop to stare and wonder just who I see at my side. But when I am old one day, watching the children playing their game, someone may pass my way and look in my face, call out my name. And then I stood on the stage and I sang this song, and maybe we'll both try then to remember the words and sing along. When I am old one day. Would I be allowed to write a line like, watching the children playing their game today? Excuse me, sir, have you got a permit for child watching? They're my grandchildren, officer. I normally tell a story there, but I don't know what tonight. Or should I?
Yes.
No, I told it to you last time. There's nothing new now, you know. I've retired. Right, I've retired, mate. I've retired. I haven't written anything new for 3 or 4 years. It's been great. No pressure. requests? That's a stupid thing to ask. No, don't. I started in 1964 at the Jugger Punch Folk Club in Birmingham, and it was run by the Ian Campbell Folk Group. Anyone remember the Ian Campbell Folk Group? Yes, they were great. They were a sort of a launching pad for great talents like Dave Pegg and Dave Swarbrick. They were all there then. And, it was wonderful because the music was just starting, what we called folk music in folk clubs. It was just beginning, and so it was all new, and we were all young, weren't we? How many of you can go back to the folk club when you were 19, 20 years old in your mind? Come on, how many of you used to go to folk clubs way back then? Come on. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Great times, weren't they? And the really great thing was that we didn't know any of the artists at that time, because they were all starting as well. And the Jugger Punch was the second biggest club in the country after the Spinners Club up in Liverpool. And so when the visiting Americans came over, and it was from America that we all got our original inspiration. First of all, we started with Lonnie, and then we Skiffle, and then we got into who he was pinching the songs from, Leadbelly and Woody Guthrie, and all of that. So we got into American folk music, and then it was the Kingston Trio and Peter, Paul and Mary and all that. And then suddenly these American artists started coming over that we'd never really heard of, and it was absolutely bloody wonderful to be a young kid, 21 years of age, sitting there in the second row at the Jugger Punch with about 500 other people, because it was always packed every week. And up here on stage I saw great people, fantastic people, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, Doc Watson, a little old lady who had her white hair done in a bun, had a little guitar and was wearing an old sort of frontier dress, and we thought, dear God, who's this? What the hell, what's Grandma going to do? And she started singing her songs, Little Boxes on the Hillside, Little Boxes in the Dick, Malvina Reynolds, bloody wonderful. And then the English artists came down, so we saw the Watersons for the first time. That was incredible. Pieces of granite singing on stage with all that grit, bloody wonderful. The young tradition coming up. It was just great. I even was sent to look after Arlo Guthrie, Woody's son, when he arrived in Birmingham to do a gig at the Jugger Punch. It was January. He got off the train in cowboy boots, jeans, a Stetson hat and dark glasses. And it took him a long time to find me, but he did. Paul Simon turned up on the wrong night, and Ian wouldn't let him play. I was in the bar when he told him off. You'll get nowhere in this business, laddie, until you get your diary in order. And Ian's sister persuaded Ian to let him on. None of us knew who he was. Little fella got on a stool, and he started to sing. I remember exactly what he sang. Sounds of silence, he was my brother. A church is burning, a most peculiar man. And I retired then for 18 months. and went into football. You didn't know that, did you? I don't care you know that now, you see, because I've retired. And I worked for Birmingham City Football Club. And then Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I carried on writing. And then it all started again. This is a song about an inspiration who turned up at the Jug. We'd never seen him before. He was incredible. He was wonderful. He was the first American, actually, that came over. He busked in Paris with Alex Campbell. Remember Alex Campbell, some of you? Yeah. And he was called Rambling Jack Elliott. And he's still alive. And he lived with Woody Guthrie for 2 or 3 years when Woody couldn't really sing and play anymore, but he could teach, and Woody taught him everything he knew and all his songs. And Jack was the first guy I ever saw in a blue denim suit, Stetson hat, cowboy boots, the whole caboodle. He had a leg in plaster. Apparently he said he'd fallen off a skateboard. None of us had any idea what it was. We thought it was something to do with frozen fish, but we didn't quite know. So, and he was wonderful. So this is to try and take you back to those folk club days when you were 21, 19, 20, and the music was all new and exciting. Songs I loved that didn't really mean a lot to me, 'cause there were no farms in my city, no sails upon my lee, and no ploughboys in the factories back then. When guest time came at last and the interval had passed, a voice said, "Would you all please settle down? 'Cause it's my job to say, let's welcome here today a legendary man of great renown." Well, he's rambled every highway, he's rambled every road, he's planted and he's gathered, he's reaped and he has sowed. He's a wanderer, a traveller, a man of no abode. And that's when Ramblin' Jack rode into town. And when he took that flat pick out and hammered on the strings, suddenly the tunes were tight, all the words had wings, and I was hearing songs that told me all mankind are kings. The day that Ramblin' Jack rode into town. And when that night was through, I found a love so true, a flat pick and 6 strings were all I need. That Kerouac of songs, who told of rights and wrongs, unknowingly had planted one more seed. Now I've rambled down the road of time and there's no going back, but I have planted seeds of song somewhere along my track. So here's to all the troubadours, here's to Ramblin' Jack, safe journeys and safe havens and Godspeed. Yes, here's to all the troubadours, here's to Ramblin' Jack, safe journeys and safe havens and Godspeed, Jack. He was given the Congressional Medal of Honor by Bill Clinton, which shows Clinton at least is a folk music fan. The rest we shall pass over. This is me. This is me, aged about 6, in my Roy Rogers outfit with a toy banjo made of metal. And I was obviously meant to be a country singer, but something went wrong somewhere. And this is just the story of all the musics that came into our lives. And by our, I mean a lot of you as well here. We were very lucky because we had little choice. I don't know about you, but I don't find choice a particularly good thing. I do not want to choose my hospital. I want my local hospital to be as good as every other hospital. I do not want to choose schools. I would like my local school to be as good as any other local school. I don't want a choice. Everybody suddenly discovered Lidl's, Aldi. Why is that? Because there's a very limited choice. So it's very easy to go shopping. In and out, it's a male form of shopping, little tonight. You go in knowing what you want, you grab it and you get out. No messing about, and it's cheaper and just as good. I don't want all this bloody choice they keep offering. We were very lucky, we had no choice. We had one television station until 1957, I think it was. And we had, the BBC radio. God bless the BBC. Bastards are trying to close it down. One of the greatest things we've got left. Fight them. Get in touch with your MP. I'm telling you. Because once it's gone, it's gone. And I've been all over the world. I've seen all the crap everybody else has. All the 2 minutes of programme and 8 minutes of advertising. Particularly in America. Fight for it. It's what our parents fought to hand on to us, along with a few other things we'll come to later. But because we had no choice, we listened to the light programme, didn't we, mostly? And the thing is, the light programme was great on a Sunday. Wonderful. Because you had to listen to family favourites to hear the new Buddy Holly and the cricket song. And while you were listening for that one thing, because they only played 1 or 2 rock and roll songs in 2 hours, while you were listening for that, you heard Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Gilbert and Sullivan. You heard the great American songbook, Rodgers and Hart, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Cole Porter. You heard the great singers. You heard a tremendous gamut of music. And you took it all in. Well, we did anyway. Because we didn't know we were going to be musicians. This life didn't exist until the 60s. But we as a generation soaked it all up. And then suddenly in the 60s, we were able to squeeze it all out. In the rock field, in the pop field, in the folk field. And all these songwriters emerged from everywhere. And they knew what they were doing because they'd heard it all. Now you can go on the internet and get into a subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre of garage. And you need never hear another thing. And that's a tragedy. Because kids today have got all the music of the world at the click of a button. And I just hope they find it. So I'd just like to read you a bit from the book about all these musics that came into our lives. I attended Canterbury Road Junior School, Perry Bar. On my first day I was petrified and sobbed my heart out as mother abandoned me to the infants' annex. There were too many children, too many by far. I wanted to be back in the safety of my bedroom in the peace and the quiet. There was too much bustle, too much shoving and shouting, but gradually Miss Holman quietened everyone down. She was silver-haired and gentle, the archetypal infant's teacher. And we all soon settled for the comfortable routine of her classroom. It was seemingly endless days of coloured gummed paper, blunt scissors, the sand pit, lettered building blocks, and unexpected vomiting or incontinence, leaving puddles on the floor. It was the sighing caretaker with his mop and bucket. It was recitation of the 2 times table until we were singing it. 2 2s are 4, 3 2s are 6. It was tantrums, tears and taunting, sneezes, snot and smells. It was unwashed Jacqueline and her scent of digestive biscuit. David, who was a walking pillar of encrusted pea. But he wasn't sewn into his underwear for the winter. Mickey, who was Irish and always fighting. And Diane, who followed me about, wanting a kiss. It was the visits of the knit nurse and her skill girl, and the torturing lady dentist with the foot-operated drill that smoked your teeth without anaesthetic. Is there anybody here under the age of sort of 35, 40? Do take notes. My gigs have been known to get people through their GCSE history. It was a piano in the corner. It was triangles and tambourines. We are in the annex classroom and we are just 6 years old. I'm wearing a fair old pullover my mother has knitted and grey short trousers my gran has run up for me on her sewing machine. They hang down to my knees, which are chapped and sore From the rain and wind I battled on my mile-long walk to school. My mile-long walk to school. We are learning a hymn, All Things Bright and Beautiful. Miss Holman plays the tune on the piano and I have it instantly. The rest of the class fumble and tumble over the notes, but I am ahead of them. The words seem to go with the tune so easily. I remember them without thinking. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful. The piano stops playing as a bell rings in the playground announcing lunchtime. As I run for the door, Miss Holman calls me back. Bring me your exercise book, she says. Puzzled, I go back to my desk and find my grey-covered workbook and take it to her. It is the book we do our writing exercises and sums in, and we are marked by gun stars stuck next to the work. In order of ascending merit, they are yellow, blue, red, silver, and gold. A chart on the wall shows how many of each star each child has earned. A gold star is the highest honour and very rare. Miss Holman takes a gold star from the tin on her desk, licks it, and sticks it to the inside cover of my workbook. Underneath it she writes, for singing. I've never given a gold star for singing before, she smiles. Well done, Harvey. She takes another gold star and sticks it on the wall next to my name on the chart. I stare at it disbelieving. I take the book home that evening to show my parents, and I get an extra slice of bread with beef dripping and salt as a reward. It is the dark dripping from the bottom of the pan. The best. When I was a boy, the sun shone every day. When I was a boy, the hours were filled with laughter. When I was a boy, the whole world was at play. When I was a boy, who cared what followed after? Some days there must have been rain. Some days there must have been anger and pain, but only happy days remain. When I was a boy, I flew a big jet plane. When I was a boy, I'd be Roy of the Rovers. When I was a boy, I'd sail the Spanish Main. When I was a boy, I'd only senior moment.
Good job you retired.
You're so right. When I was a boy, and there has the on its own. It's not I sailed the Spanish Main. What was it? Oh, sorry.
Anybody got a karaoke machine?
When I was a boy, I sailed the Spanish Main. When I was a boy, I'd be Roy of the Rovers. When I was a boy, I'd score a century. When I was a boy, I'd only need 3 overs. Some days there must have been rain. Some days there must have been anger and pain. But only happy days remain. When I was a boy, I knew they'd send for me. That's it. When I was a boy, got it. I'd be right up the Rovers. When I was a boy, it's a century again. I'll score a century in 3 overs. If you work that out, that's 6 every ball, and it's actually possible. And really, that's the end of the song. So I've just repeated the verse that I got wrong in the first place. And thank you all very much for coming to my final gig. I'll do something else. I've sung it a stack of times. I haven't been practicing lately because you probably noticed I've got this I've got a septic finger, which has made playing the guitar impossible for a long time, and only just possible tonight, although you may have noticed. So normally I run through everything the day before, but I haven't been able to, so yeah, that's my excuse. Thank you, finger. That was a song about being young, and I'm not young anymore. I have grandchildren. How many of you have grandchildren? Come on, grandchildren. Oh, look at this. It's the grandparents' night out. The kids are actually looking after their kids tonight, aren't they? Well, there you go. Yeah. It's we've got 2. We've got Kitty and Thomas. Kitty's just coming up to 10, and Thomas is just coming up to 6. And there is an age gap. And sometimes it's very difficult, isn't it, to deal with the age gap, to try and explain things to them from so long ago. And they were staying with us recently. Have you got these different bins you have to put out? Yeah. Different colours for different things. Oh, it's very good, really, but it's a pain, isn't it? We've got a green bin for reusable stuff and a black bin for rubbish. Well, the thing is, when you've got your grandkids staying with you, and you don't see them all that often in the year because they're right down south, and you know, I normally take about an hour and a half to surface when I've woken up in the morning. Quiet cup of tea, read a book for a bit, check the news, go and walk around the house a few times to get the legs going, and then I'm ready for the day. Not when you've got your grandchildren. They're awake and alert before they know they're awake and alert. Full of beans. So this morning, I was in the kitchen making my cup of tea. And Kitty comes in full of beans. Morning, Grandpa! Morning, Kitty. What are we doing today, Grandpa? So I thought, come on, Harv, let's get going. And this is true, I said, well, Kitty, we're going down to the gate and we're going to put out the green bin. It was Frankie Vaughan, Kitty. It's called The Green Door, and it was #1 in 1953. You are silly, Grandpa. I mean, they talk about austerity today. They have no idea what it is, do they? They haven't got the faintest idea. Austerity is ice on the inside of your bedroom window when you get out of bed. Austerity is stepping out onto cold linoleum. Google it when you get back. Austerity is going downstairs and lighting a fire that provides no heat for 3 hours. That's austerity. They don't know what they're talking about. Austerity is not having a bathroom. In fact, austerity is having the cludgy down the yard. The cludgy, I think, is a Midland term for the small room, or the whatever they call it these days, the powder room. The only powder in our powder room was the crumbling brickwork. In the winter, my father would burn a little paraffin lamp in there, about this size, in the insane hope he could stop it from all freezing up. All it did was attract every spider for 4 weeks. Keep warm. Hope you're taking notes. I hate to say this, but it's absolutely true. In the austerity period after the war, there was no such thing as toilet paper. Isn't that a terrible thought? Well, there was, but it was called Izal. Don't Google that. If you had it today, you'd use it to wrap your sandwiches in. So it was my dad's daily newspaper cut into squares, threaded on string, hung on a hook on the inside of the cludgy door. Just too far away for a 6-year-old to reach. Of course, Mother cut it with pinking shears, which put us socially above our neighbours. And we had a tin bath. Came out of the cupboard on the floor Saturday night, and the water would all be heated up in copper and saucepans, and would all go into this tin bath. Had to do for the 3 of us. I would go first because I was the youngest. The water was the hottest, and I'd never knowingly since eaten lobster. Dad would go next and marinate with the evening paper, the sports paper, checking his pools. And Mother would go last when the water was cold and had the consistency of porridge. And then the council gave us a grant. And they knocked a hole in the wall of the kitchen, they took down the cludgy and everything else, and they built us a proper bathroom. The whole thing. My dad wasn't keen. He didn't like the idea of a proper indoor everything. He said, an indoor lavatory don't sound too hygienic to me, look. But she persuaded him, we got it. Went in. It was pedestal wash basin, a zinc bath with hot and cold running water, and an indoor loo. On the day it was finished, Dad came home from work, Mother had put a ribbon across the door. Dad, full of pride, cut the ribbon with the pinking shears, of course, and led the 2 of us in and looked around this palatial bathroom. This was absolutely it. You know, really, this was just great. And he turned on all the 4 taps, hot and cold running water. He just looked at it. And he said, it comes all the way from Wales to us, this does, son. It's a miracle. It's a miracle, Dad. It's a miracle, son. And then he turned the taps off, because we still only took our bath on a Saturday. Well, that was community, you see. As long as we all did that in Birmingham, it meant that everybody was rancid by Friday. But we were rancid together. Community. So this is a little song I wrote, which was in a musical I wrote all the musical songs for, called Go and Play Up Your Own End. Or to put it correctly, go and play up your own end. Because I'm a Brummie, you see. A proud Brummie. It never escaped Birmingham, the musical. It sold out every theatre in the second city. The Birmingham Hippodrome, it sold out. The Solihull Library Theatre, it sold out. The Repertory Theatre, it sold out. The Alexandra Theatre, it sold out twice. The last time with Jasper Carrott as one of the stars in it, and Dave Willits, who took over from Michael Crawford in the Phantom of the Opera, singing my songs. And everybody said, this is brilliant, it's got to go around the country, it's just great, it's everybody's story. And it is everybody's story from that period, when they were knocking down the back-to-backs where everybody knew everybody, and moving into the big blocks of flats, which they didn't know was going to be a disaster for them. They've all gone now. And we had the London money people come up. Oh yes, they came and had a look, yes, they did, yes. But none of them decided to take it, and one of them told us the reason once. He said, "I'm sorry, but there's no way you can have a production tour in the country with that accent." He said, "Do you think you could rewrite it in Cockney or Scouse?" I think we might be able to do something with it then. And my partner and I looked at each other. And it was 4.5 weeks before he came out of hospital. We would not sell our heritage for a mess of pottage. So, would you like to sing? Oh, God. I've travelled the world doing this, you know. You wouldn't believe it, but I have. And you know, you go to Canada or America or something. Would you like to sing? Woo! Yeah, Harvey, wow, man, woo! Yeah. England. Would you like to sing? Did he say sing? I didn't come here to work, did you? Chorus. I go. Yiddly diddly diddly dum, and you go. The old tin bath. Yiddly diddly diddly dum. The old tin bath. Then I go diddly diddly dum, diddly dum dum, diddly dum, diddly diddly dum, dum. The old tin bath. Taxing, isn't it? Or what had come out on a Saturday night? The old tin bath. Put in the kitchen right under the line. The old tin bath. We'd fill every kettle, we'd fill every pot. Boil them up until scalding hot. Where did we pour the boiling lot? In the old tin bath. Kitchen awash with water and steam from the old tin bath. You'd dip in a toe and you'd give out a scream in the old tin bath. Kids would go first, then dance it tight. Mother came last, she said it's alright. Then she'd empty it, polish it, make it a sight. The old tin bath. When mother got out, the water was cold in the old tin bath. She longed for the day we finally sold the old tin bath. She nagged away from night till noon for a plumbing bath in a separate room. And soon there came the day of doom for the old tin bath. When they carried it out, we cheered and clapped the old tin bath. Cause we had a new room, all tile and tap, on the old tin bath. With a gleaming tub as big as a pool, hot and cold, but it made you drool. We soaked and splashed and played the fool. We were hydropaths. Goodbye, old tin. Oh, what had come out on a Saturday night? The old tin bath. There's some food and everything. Please get through it as fast as you possibly can, because at my age, if the interval goes on too long, I fall asleep and I'm useless second half. So don't hang about. There's also CDs out there and my book. CDs are a tenner, the book is a tenner, and I'll sign anything you buy with the autograph of your choice. There's also some brilliant stuff from Roger out there, so have a go at that as well, won't you? So I'll just finish with this. And got a surprise for you in the second half. It's a surprise for me too. I won't tell you what it is, but it's different. Hey woman, my woman, open your eyes and smile. Hey lovely, my lovely, stay in the warm a while. Savor the present we've got to open, wrapped in a sleepy way. We've got a gift to share together, gift of a brand new day, gift of a brand new day. It's your gift. Hey woman, my woman, we can walk in the rain. Hey lovely, my lovely, search for this sign again. You can make bread, I can make wine, we'll ask our friends to stay. We've got a gift to share together, gift of a brand down, time flows down the long, long road you shared with me. My woman, now that the kids are grown, they love you. My lovely, there's time to be on our own. These are the best days we've ever had. What a wonderful thing to say. We've got a gift to share together. Gift of a brand new day. Gift of a brand new day.